Hey, once in a while I get what I call a buzzword. And a buzzword for me is when I repeatedly come across a word or a phrase in a particular season. Everywhere I turn, it's there. Sometimes people might even send me an article or send me a book and say, I saw this book, I want to recommend it to you. Or I've even had someone give me a journal that had the word in front of it. So it's very clear in those moments that I'm supposed to be learning about it or I'm supposed to be applying it to my life. And so in this season, it's been procrastination. But before the lesson on procrastination came the lesson on time. What I learned about time is many of us see time as a soulless function of the world in which we live, i.e., it's just a unit of measurement. It's the measurement between the beginning and the end of a task. But what God taught me was that time is actually a unit of potency. And just like a molecule, time contains, or each unit contains life, and it contains the ability to produce life. You see, taking an action in a specific time, in its own appointed time, is what creates life. Just like when you take two jigsaw puzzles that are meant to come together, there is a specific piece that must connect to a second piece if the picture is going to be formed. Now, many of us, when it comes to procrastination, we simply assume that because I do it tomorrow, I'm going to get the same result. And I beg to differ. I believe that if you don't take the action in the time you're supposed to take it, you're not going to get the fullness of the result. As a matter of fact, you may not get the result at all. And I'm sure that even as I'm speaking, you can think of many examples where that has happened. Because I find that we place more emphasis on the action than we do on the time in which we take the action. And so if I've been procrastinating and I feel guilty and I get it done, I'm like, oh, at last it's done. And I'm relieved and I'm thinking, I can cross it out, I'm done. But unfortunately, that's not enough. That is probably just, you took action. That's like taking one piece of the jigsaw, but you've connected it to the wrong piece because you have done it in the wrong timing. There's a scripture I love that says, there's a season and a time for every activity under heaven. There's another version that says every activity has its own appointed or fixed time. And I absolutely love another one that is further down that says God makes everything beautiful in its time, not in his time, but in its own time, which means that there is a specific time for a thing to be complete or to be beautiful. Just like vegetation, just like fruits and trees and plants and flowers, there's a time in which they would come through. You are not going to find pears and apples in winter time, in the wrong season. They have their own season, and yet there are other things that are birthed in what we would call the wrong season. So I want to really encourage you not to take the timing of your activity lightly, because there is a specific action you're meant to take in its own specific time, and that's when results are birthed. But you cannot simply take an action in a random time and think that something is going to come out of it. I hope this has encouraged you. I want to share one example of when that happened to me. I had one time was taking my boys to school, and I got this feeling, this strong urge to pull over and send a tweet. And I wasn't going to do it. I was like, when I drop the boys at school, when I park properly, then I will do it. But the feeling came, and I felt God was saying to me, just pull over and send this tweet. So I sent a tweet to one of our items. And it was very random. It wasn't even a cut, it was just random, and sent the tweet off and then continued with my day. Later on, I saw that someone had replied and said she needed it urgently. What I had just tweeted, she needed it urgently. And it was for a VIP family, and they went on to place multiple orders with us over the following 2 or 3 years. Now, I could have sent the tweet, but if I had sent it later at the wrong time, there's no way she would have seen it, because she happened to be on her device on that platform at that exact time. And you all know how Twitter works or X works. We showed up on her feed while she was on there. And so that's an example, and I always try to remember. And in this season of learning about procrastination, I'm reminding myself the importance and the essence of doing things in their own time, which is when you get the inspiration to do it. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you soon.